What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode 331, and our podcast is brought to you by Amazon. If you go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and happen to purchase something that keeps the podcast going, it just gives us a little kickback and keeps us coming in, tuning in every week for you guys. And with me, of course, is my co-host Ryan. What's going on?
Oh, not a lot. Woke up from a little nappy nap and ready to go.
Ryan's reaching that age where he needs
I need my nap.
He needs the after. Some days I'm the same way. Like I'm like I need to lay down.
Yeah.
But
we had a busy weekend, and still just kind of trying to catch up from that.
Are you crushing an energy drink right now?
I mean, yes, not like a gamer energy drink. It's the Perrier.
I don't know about that.
Pomegranate flavor. It's not bad. It's pretty good. So.
Okay, I'm doing the Juju Energy tropical. It's awesome. It's like
you tried to convince me he's drinking blood, but
no, this doesn't look like blood.
No, not at all.
But yeah, no, it's a tropical.
What shaker is that? Is that just some?
That's About Time. It's a protein brand.
Gotcha.
But no, the Juju Energy Tropical, I forget what it's called. It's really, really good, and it works too. I'm a big fan of Juju Energy. So,
sweet.
In any case, if you guys do want to follow along, as I always say, we do have our full show notes page that has everything that we're going to be talking about this week. Lots of tech stories, really cool products. And just a lot to talk about this week. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. And we did kind of talk about this at the end of last week's podcast. I said, if I'm, in my setup, if I need a new audio solution, the absolute last thing, honestly, that I would think about getting would be a soundbar. It's just like a soundbar typically is for the living room. It's just something that goes in the living room. Soundbar is pretty much what most people I know who don't use their TVs speakers, like they have a soundbar. They don't have a surround sound system. They have like a soundbar, which makes sense because it's a lot easier to set up. You don't need wires going through, all that kind of stuff.
I was surprised you posted this on, I think I saw the comment on Facebook, you posted the review, and our buddy Damon posted up that he and his wife both had one on their PCs, right? Mm-hmm. The previous generation of this. So that was kind of surprising to me, but no, yeah, you're right. Most of the time you think of them in a TV setting.
Yeah, so I was really intrigued when Creative when they reached out about reviewing their soundbar. This is the Katana V2. And I was like, I don't know, do I really want to review a soundbar? Like, it just doesn't sound like I like reviewing speakers because I figure after I'm actually going to use them. But I was like, a soundbar, I don't know. To me, like for a gaming setup, especially like a PC gaming setup sitting at your desk, I always just thought a soundbar was kind of like gimmicky. It's just cheap. I don't know. I had all these assumptions. Well, after reviewing this product, I do have to say all my assumptions are just blown away. This is not only a great soundbar for your gaming setup, whether that's a PC, console, whatever it may be. If you're sitting at a desk, this thing is great for that, but also it's great in the living room. So I tested it both sitting here at this desk and in my living room, and both were very, very excellent sound, just made you feel like you were there and all that. So we'll get into it. This is the V2 of the Katana. As Ryan said, our good friend Damon, him and his wife have the original. So this is the updated version. They gave it a lot more power, updated design, updated subwoofer, everything like that. So this is a soundbar that comes with a subwoofer. So that subwoofer is going to give you a lot of oomph and a lot of bass and really make you feel, whether you're gaming, your gunshots and explosions, or if you're watching a movie, those type of sounds as well. And I think that if you're going from either like a speaker system on your desk that's just two, just left and right channel speakers without a subwoofer, or if you're going from a TV that just the TV's built-in speakers to this, you're going to notice an immediate difference just because you have the subwoofer. It's just going to give you more power. It's going to, again, make you really feel those explosions and things like that. The actual soundbar itself is probably, I would say it's a lot smaller than like a soundbar you would find for like a normal TV. And the main reason for that, it's a lot thinner because it's made to sit under your monitor. This is, of course, a gaming soundbar made to sit under your monitor. So the overall size of it is decently small. But it's, like I said, it's very well made. You have brushed aluminum. All your controls are right here at the top. Your power button, volume up or volume down, volume up, source button, mode button, and the SXFI button, which we'll get into. And then on the actual front, you have a little display that's going to, tell you different modes and just give you information of kind of what you're doing. And then you do have a 3.5 millimeter jack for a headset, which is really nice. So again, if you do have this, at your gaming setup, you can easily, it's late at night or whatever, you can just easily plug in a headset, which is really, really convenient for a gaming, gaming setup. As I said, as far as inputs, you have HDMI out for ARC. If you don't know what that means, that basically means you can take both your video and your audio out of whatever you're doing and put it through the soundbar. You have SXFI out, which is USB connection. You have USB audio in. So this soundbar will work on a PC via USB. You just plug it in and it will work. PC and Mac, I believe. And then again, you do have HDMI, XF. I don't know why I messed this up.
Words tonight.
I know, SXFI. And then you also have optical in as well. So again, just like if you're connecting this to the TV, you don't want to do the HDMI, you can do optical in, no problem there at all. And then you do get some RGB lighting on the bottom, which is like a diffuse section, which I'll show you in just a little bit. And then you have a subwoofer. So it's a pretty big subwoofer, 6.5 inch subwoofer driver in there. Very big. So this whole unit gives you 126 watts RMS, 252 watts at peak power. That's a lot for how small this soundbar is. You're going to get a lot of power out of this soundbar. It's just going to, again, it's very powerful. I didn't have to have this thing turned up like at all.
Yeah.
Here it is. You're right. I can't talk tonight.
You can't word tonight.
Yeah. Here it is on my main setup, on my gaming setup. So for reference, this is a 49 inch ultra wide. So again, a lot larger than a normal monitor, but you can kind of see it sitting there and connected,
That's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be.
Well, again, it's decently small. And then the next photo is my TV. So this is a 55 inch TV. You can see it sitting below there. But you can see just how small it is. Like I said, it fits. It's small, but it definitely packs a punch, which I was really surprised about. It also does come with a remote. The remote allows you to easily change settings, do a bunch of different things. One really cool thing I like about this remote is that it has custom buttons. So you have 6 custom buttons that you can set to do whatever, which is really nice. So if you want to change it to like a gaming mode or something like that, you can easily do that with these custom buttons, which is nice. The only thing that sucks about the remote, they did not include batteries. I always hate it when you get a product weird. And they don't include batteries. No batteries are included. So
even if they just include like the cheapo, crappy batteries, they'll at least get you started.
Yeah, I believe they're AAAs. So you have to. Luckily I have rechargeable AAAs. Like I just always have them. So, but if you don't, you have to go out and buy them. So it's kind of a bummer there. As far as sound quality goes, one of the biggest things that I was actually surprised with is, again, I tested this in my living room first because there was like the day or the day after, like Top Gun Maverick came out on streaming, and I bought it, and I was like, I'm really going to test the speaker system out. Like, Top Gun Maverick, like, got to test it out.
Yeah.
It sounded really, it would like in the living room sound amazing, much, much better than my TV speakers by far. And that's going to be pretty much the same experience for anybody who is, replacing again, a TV, like just normal TV audio, is you're going to see an immediate difference. But then I switched over and I brought it in here. I played Apex Legends. I played a couple different games, and of course the sound is really good, but the sound accuracy is actually incredibly good. Especially playing Apex, you like, oh, this guy's to my left, this guy's to my right, or they're coming, or I hear shots to my left, I hear shots to my right. When it comes to speaker systems, again, especially like esports titles, sound accuracy or location accuracy is extremely important. Right. And I was actually really surprised because typically most speaker systems, it's garbled. You kind of, maybe it's coming from the left, maybe it's coming from the right, but you really can't pinpoint it. That's why most people wear headsets. Like, that's the whole reason for a headset, is because you hear it in this ear, you hear it in that ear, right?
Yeah, and like on that top picture there, you've got your other Razer speakers back there.
Yeah,
right? And you have so much more space in between the left and the right to kind of help with that sound positioning, right? Whereas the soundbar is, the speakers left and right are so much closer to each other. So it's awesome that it can provide that type of left and right accuracy in such a compact unit, with speakers, as opposed to like you said, the headsets with the left and right are a lot easier to kind of
and I don't expect most serious gamers or pro gamers because again, you're going to be using a headset, because again, the sound is incredibly important. But if you're not casual gaming, you do get that sound accuracy to see, like, this is where enemies are coming from, or this is where I hear, if you're playing like an adventure game, like, this is where I hear something going on in this corridor, so I'm going to go down there. Like, it is really impressive. That's one of the biggest things that I noticed about this soundbar is the location accuracy. It really is good. Overall, it sounds really good. Again, if you like me, like, this is, you can see the Razer speakers here. Like, these are just speakers, no subwoofer. You're going to get a much better experience because, again, you have that subwoofer. So if you're playing like a action game and there's explosions going on, you're going to feel them a lot more than you would with normal speakers. And talking about that, there is software. So what's really cool about this is that, say you're using this with your home theater, like, you're not connecting it to a PC, so you might not have, there might not be software for it, but there's actually software for mobile. So you can connect via Bluetooth to this as well. And you can there's apps for iOS and Android. I use the PC app to do all the customization, but you can completely customize this thing. There's different sound modes. Like, there's typical, like, music, gaming, movies, all of that. But then there's like this drop down that's right here. You can do, like, there's a setting for Apex Legends, which I use. There's settings for CSGO. I believe there's settings for Call of Duty. Like, you can really get the best sound for the actual, whatever you're playing.
I've continued to use this wired headset since having the X4, the Sound Blaster X4, right? Because I enable in that drop down menu the Apex Legends to get enhanced audio when we're gaming. So.
Yeah, and there's different things, like with gaming, you can turn on the scout mode, which makes the location accuracy even better. A bunch of different things in the software. Very easy to use software. It has a full equalizer that you can kind of mess around with if you want to do your own custom things. You can also customize all the buttons. Like I said, on the remote, you can set which each of the custom buttons does. So you can go ahead and do that if you want, which is really cool. This soundbar does have microphones on it. They're not great. I would say you could get away with like a Zoom call or a Skype call, but it's not like something you're going to be using in game, I would say. But it's nice that they're there, like in a pinch, if you needed to do a Skype call or something like that, you could definitely use it. And then of course you have the RGB lighting. What gaming product doesn't have RGB lighting, right?
Yeah.
You can fully customize the lighting within the software. There are some presets like rainbow. There's this kind of blue and purple color, and then there's one that reacts to the audio, which is really cool. So especially like in a home theater setup, like having it react to the audio, and then you can change that color. You can change all the colors like within the apps and the software. You can do that too. Of course, you can turn, again, if this is in a home theater, even in, it might be annoying while you're gaming. You can turn the RGB lighting completely off. You can dim this display right here, and you can turn that display completely off. So if it's bothering you, whether you're watching a movie or something or gaming, you can turn all that stuff off so it doesn't bother you, which I really like as well. So this soundbar, like I said, definitely packs a punch. It definitely is going to give you a better experience than two speakers on your desk or your TV's, built-in speakers. Is going to blow those away. Multiple connectivity options. Again, I listed all the stuff on the back you can connect it to. So, I mean, again, this is going to work with, any console. It's going to work with your TV. You can connect it to your PC. I believe it's compatible with Mac. You can connect via Bluetooth to it as well. So that is, anything that supports Bluetooth. So lots of stuff you can do with it. I really like it. It is decently expensive, but it's very powerful for what it is as far as how much wattage you can get out of it. It's $329.99. It's only available currently through Creative's website. Can't find it on Amazon. Can't find it on Newegg. So hopefully that availability opens up, because I know a lot of people are just like a lot more comfortable ordering on Amazon. Plus, if you're Prime, you can get it in like a day or whatever. I gave it a 9 out of 10 and our recommended award. I think it definitely changed my mind in terms of a soundbar. Like I thought soundbars were stupid. And then I used this one and my mind was completely changed, which I definitely liked. So yeah, check it out. If it's something you're interested in, I think it will, just like Damon said with the original, he's had that for years. A lot of the people that I talked to who had the original, they had it for years because it's just that good. I think audio products you do keep for a considerable amount of time just because they're good and they last a long time. And again, this one is kind of future proof with all the different connectivity options. So go ahead and check out that review. I had a lot of fun testing it. It's always good when you can just like watch movies to test products and stuff. So, and play games and stuff too. So that was definitely a lot of fun. So go ahead and check that review out. Before we move on, just checking into the chat because I'm not good at doing that. Old man is in the chat. He said he has some 5-foot tall speakers that his neighbor gave them. He said that they're speakers you'd rent out for a party or event. Yeah. I remember like I always wanted like these massively big speakers like back in the day, and then like my parents, like when I was growing up, they had like big speakers. They were loud. I don't know how like the quality, but yeah, they were very, very loud. So, but yeah, we'll move on to Case Mod Friday. And this week we have another build that I thoroughly enjoy because it has the frosted tubes, which I'm a huge fan of. This is the blue silver, I guess you would say, just called silver with a Y instead of an I, by B Builds. And I have to say, like I said, I just the frosted tubing just adds so much more to a build. I think this is I believe is this the O11 dynamic? I'm pretty sure it looks like it. O11 dynamic.
Is it the XL or is it just the regular?
Oh, I believe we have a parts list. Evo. It's the Evo.
The Evo. Okay. Yep.
But yeah, it's just it's a sleek build. Frosted tubing.
I consider this a build, right? Because there's not really, I don't think, any real custom work outside of custom bends on the tubes. But
these are all parts that you can.
You could go out, buy these parts, put this together. This is kind of like what I strive for like would be like at the top end of probably my building skill set, right? Without like spending a lot of time and money and trial and error to get something that looks much better than this. Because this, just everything looks like it fits and belongs, and colors look great. Everything looks good about this. I love this build.
Yeah, it's I like it.
Some nice high polished backplate there on the GPU.
Yeah, you can kind of see the reflection there on that. I really like this one. It's EK water cooling parts. Yeah, I just like it. I like the color, that, I don't know what you want to call that. Like, I don't know. It's just like, again, it matches the frosted color of the tubing kind of too. I just really like it. And of course, all lit up, it looks really, really nice too. So shout out to B Builds for this one. Good stuff. Man, I need to build new computers soon.
Every week.
Every week we say
every week.
It's gonna happen here eventually. So I'll eventually make it happen. So, but yeah, go ahead and check that out. As I always say, we have our full list of Case Mod Friday builds. Lots of stuff in there to check out. Just get some inspiration to, build your own thing there. So, news this week, lots of interesting news. One of the big stories this week is we have this leaked render, which supposedly is the RTX 4090 Founders Edition. It looks very much, if you look at the picture here, this looks very much like our current Founders Edition cards. Same kind of design language, same X design on the card itself. But there's one thing to notice is you see the tiny cutout around the fan, and you see the tiny cutout down here. Now, those cutouts are not present in the previous the RTX 30 series cards, meaning that we do get, hopefully we'll get a slightly larger fan there. It looks like not much larger, but it's going to be a little bit larger than the current fan. If this is a true render of the card, there was another picture that was leaked that shows that same cutout right here. It also shows a triple slot card, which if this is the 4090, that kind of makes sense, right?
Sure.
Because the 3090 is triple slot, 4090 would be triple slot, but it does show the cutouts. Again, you can see the cutout at the bottom or at the top and at the bottom via the previous picture. Same thing, little cutout right there, little cutout down there.
The only thing that throws me off a bit is, unless like the image is reversed, but that top image, the fan blades are going one direction, right? To me, that fan there would be spinning clockwise. If you look at the other image, it would be spinning counterclockwise. See what I'm saying? So it's like, is one of these like, but on the bottom image, the card's upside down. See how the So now I got to think about this for a second.
I think it's correct. I think it's correct. It's the other side. But in any case,
anyways, yeah,
that's a major difference.
A larger fan.
Yeah, will help help a little bit better. I assume that's why they obviously are making it's a little bit bigger. This same person who leaked these images also leaked this internal performance here, and this is a bunch of different games against the previous generation. We do not know what cards being tested. We do not know what it's being tested against. All that was mentioned is that it's the RTX 40 series against the previous generation. But again, you don't know but if look at some of these are like well close to 2 times the performance in these select titles. So
some of them are over 2 times.
Yeah, some of them are over 2 times. But again, you don't know. We don't know if it's testing a 4090 against a 3090. We don't know, right? But just looking at this graph, it's suffice to say we're going to get some decent performance boost.
Absolutely.
So we will, of course, hear more about this later this month. Of course, GTC is coming up, and I assume we'll get a technical demo, benchmarks. You would assume, right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for 40 series, man.
I keep thinking about it, and I see these prices of cards dropping on the current series. I'm like, oh man, do I just jump in now on those? And who knows?
But this next story is why I get upset.
Okay.
And we've talked about this multiple times. This is why I get upset. So there's new rumors about the RTX 4080. It's going to come in 2 variants. 12 gigabyte variant and 16 gigabyte variant. 16 gigabyte variant will have a 12 layer PCB. 12 gigabyte variant will have a 10-layer PCB. It appears they both will launch at the same time. This is not the first time NVIDIA has done this. They initially did it on the GTX 1060. If you remember, we had 3 gigabyte and 6 gigabyte models. And then you eventually did see it on the 3080. So you had the 10 gigabyte model, which was the initial RTX 3080. And then later we got a 12 gigabyte model later down the line. These two are going to launch at the same time. I hate this because I just want a 4070, a 4080, and a 4090. That's all I want. I don't need NVIDIA to compete at every $25, $50 price point. Just
Right.
give me 3 cards, make it simple, done and done, right?
Yeah.
I don't.
I agree.
And these cards, we don't know, but these cards could have different CUDA-core counts as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what, like, are you good? I guess, I mean, they're going to be based on the same GPU, obviously, but it just makes it so hard for the consumer, especially first time buyer. Like, I want a 38 or I want a 4080. Then, they get the 12 gigabyte instead of 16 gigabyte where they really want,
especially if cards that are sampled to reviewers and things like that are only like they only sample the 16 gig version, right?
Yeah.
But not the 12. So you're like, well, the 16 costs this much more. I wish I knew what the 12's performance was, and do I want to pay that lower cost and be happy with those performance?
And
numbers,
how much
right?
is that lower cost? Is it $50?
Right.
Like,
well, and in a lot of games, like, what's the, do I need the 16 or the 12? Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why, like, I really like, again, it's
Just
really
give me
simple.
one card at each level.
Like 30 or 40, 60, 40, 70, 40, 80, 40, 90. And
Mhm.
then a year later, you come out with a Super TI. It
Right.
just makes it easy. Because again, we always say, like, the lower end card is the esports card. Then you have the 1080p card. Then you have 1440p card. And you have 4K card. Simple. Done. Right?
Yep.
You don't have 3 cards that you could do. It's so confusing. And again, especially to the consumer, we can, of course, everybody can do the research, but it's just, I just don't like this. I'm not a fan of this at all. I don't know. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see if this is actually going to be the thing, but if it is, it just makes it more confusing. Moving over, Intel Arc, and this is some bold statements made by Intel because we don't know a whole lot about this. They came out and saying that their Arc A770, which will be the highest end card that they come out with in their Arc Alchemist discrete GPU series, is 14% faster than the GeForce RTX 3060 with ray tracing on. They but they put out their own scores here, showing the Arc A770 against the RTX 3060 and a bunch of titles with ray tracing on. This is at 1080p. And to see the difference, where in a couple titles the RTX 3060 beats it out, but in a lot of titles the Arc A770 does beat it. In the let's see here. One, we don't know what type of ray tracing hardware is in that. Like, we know nothing about it. Sure. The RTX 3060 has 28 RT cores, for those wondering. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that they're putting out all this information. Again, this is like a big PR campaign.
I mean, we've seen Intel put out shady numbers, like you see, like the details in some of this, and down at the bottom it says, "Oh, see what's it say? See backup for workloads and configurations." Right? Results may vary. I hate seeing stuff like that because we've seen them try and pull funky stuff with numbers before. But I mean, I'm still excited for a third player to be joining the game. Right? It's just,
I think if it's
so
competitive,
yes, correct, right.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I just hope it's not a flop, right? Because we've all been waiting for it, and like we always say, choice is good for the consumer. For this to be dead on arrival would be pretty bad. So hopefully these numbers are accurate.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me is competitive um, on performance and price,
Right.
and then also driver software to back it up, right?
Yeah,
Like
the
you,
experience of using it.
yeah, you don't want to like the game that you want to play. The you have to always get driver updates. It's not working. Like those are the big issues that I think. And again, that's what plagued AMD for so long. Was like I remember we reported on it too. It was like it's been like
Yeah,
342
since
days before AMD upgraded their driver. Like hopefully there's stuff not. I think Intel's doing this correctly. It's going to be a slow rollout. I honestly think just like with most products, second generation is going to be far better, but I like that they're putting out all these numbers, and I like that we did see the other one that tested like 50 games or something. They had the exact same specs. Like they did list everything that they kind of use. So I think they're just putting out raw numbers and just letting people decide kind of what. I think a lot of people just like I said, will wait till second generation because that's when typically things get
hopefully
hashed
those.
out
Yeah.
and you get more. And I think the second generation is when we'll get that push towards competing against because again, this is competing against the 3060. This is their highest end card that they're going to come out with in this generation, I believe. So the next generation, we get something to compete against, the 80 series from, 80 and 90 series from NVIDIA, like being on that kind of level. And I think a lot of more enthusiasts will be a lot more excited because they want that super high end performance. But I think these are going to be good, and I think they're going to be affordable. I honestly like the slower rollout because it makes it so you don't have all of these big issues too. So yeah, so we'll see kind of what happens with the Arc series. Old Man said, I wonder if they only use DX12. I mean, all the new games, I think every game that was listed there is all DX12. You'd have to go back to use an older game that, because even in our GPU testing, we don't test with DX11 anymore. It's all DX12. DX12 and Vulkan for the most part. And I think in one of their tests, they did use Vulkan. They told you what they used to do each one. So yeah, talking about the Arc GPUs and being competitive, they're going to offer up to $370 worth of games and software with Alder Lake and Alchemist systems. So they have this full list, which you can, see the graphics cards that are available and eligible processors as well. And you're going to get, as far as games, Ghostbusters, Spirits Unleashed, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Gotham Knights, and Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt. Those are the gaming titles. And then you'll also get software. And again, I don't know what any of this software is because obviously I don't use it. Like Topaz, Gigapixel. I don't know what that is.
They offer XSplit Premium though.
Okay. Yeah. D5 renderer, Magic Video Pro X14, Power Director 365, XSplit Premium, which is kind of nice to get as well. So they're making it a value add. Again, this is like what both AMD and NVIDIA did. You get, what's the game bundle that I get with my card? Like this is a game and software bundle. So if you are doing just more than gaming, you're getting some other stuff with this too. Cool. And again, we have the full list of all the graphics cards and processors that are available. I think if you're buying one of these, if you're at the store, they'll tell you what you'll get with the specific processor and everything like that. And we do have the link to Intel's page that has all this information as well. So if you are considering picking one up, whether it's a processor or graphics card, you can at least get something. Like again, value add-on, which I like. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it's always nice to like have some new game that looks really nice to run with your new GPU, right?
Yeah,
you don't have to play your old games, right? Even though you may enjoy them and you might be able to play them at a higher frame rate or quality setting, it's always nice to have like that shiny new game that looks.
And
nice.
it's like I do like the software as well because it's like okay, I wouldn't normally buy this software. like the one I believe is like a video creation software. It's like, well, like I probably wouldn't like mess with it, but it's free. I'm gonna try it out and see what I can do, and then maybe you like get into video editing because of that or whatever. I
Sure.
kind of like that as well. So that's really cool for Intel to do that. Price we talk about this literally every week. RTX 30 series is still prices are still going down. So recently we saw RTX 3090 Ti go for just like $1,099. That's the lowest that it has been. Super low price there. Also, we saw an RTX 3090, the non-Ti version, go for $959. That's the lowest price it's ever been, and these are for brand new. This is all brand new cards. This is not, again, you can get these cards, eBay, forums, whatever, for cheaper, but these are brand new cards that, of course, have full warranty and haven't been used. And then an RTX 3080 Ti, $739 from Best Buy.
It's
getting close.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I like these prices much better.
Yeah. So yeah, they're continuing to drop. I did know we didn't do a story on it, but I do know that Nvidia also announced the game bundle too. So I believe the game bundle is 38 or 3070, 3080, and 3090. I believe the game bundles for too. So again, you're going to get a card. Again, they're trying to push these off the shelf. They're trying to move all these cards. So being able to add a game bundle to it too. I don't know what the games are. I didn't look, but it's kind of nice. I'm still waiting for the 500. If would you say like a 3080 Ti for 500? Would you buy it?
A 3080 Ti for 500?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Like if it was on like Best Buy and like you could go pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like cheap enough to like justify buying that and then buying a 4000 series as well and just having,
Yeah. I mean, it's that time,
Yeah.
But if you did the 4000 series, you'd have to, of course, upgrade.
I got to get a new power supply.
You got to get, you got to get a new motherboard.
Yeah.
You got to get DDR5 memory as well. So that would be a big upgrade.
That is true.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, but yeah, cheap prices on graphics cards. Still, I'm gonna say it. We haven't hit the bottom. We have not hit the bottom yet. I would say.
I believe you. Yeah.
Yeah. Old man says, I wonder if Nvidia has a warehouse full of cards they were planning to sell to Bitcoin. I mean, probably, because before the crypto crash, it was still profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not, because of the price of cryptocurrencies have just plummeted. So that's why the price of cards has gone down, because so many used cards are in the market that people are buying the used cards instead of buying the ones at retail. That's why you saw the price drops. Also, they have a launch that they need to do, and they can't
just keep pushing it back or anything like that.
Yeah, so they have to get rid of these cards. So I'm gonna say we haven't hit the bottom yet. We're gonna see lower retail prices. We're gonna see, I would think. But talking about DDR5, like I said, like you said, if you want to upgrade to Ryzen 4000 series or 7000 series, not 4000 series.
Yeah.
Ryzen 7000 series, Zen 4 though, so you were close. Zen 4. DDR5 prices are going to probably drop fairly soon when that launch comes, because DDR5 has solely been on the Intel side. So you're going to see it on the AMD side. Demand's going to be higher. There's going to be a lot more DDR5 in the market now, so prices will be dropping, which of course is going to be really good, because I think a lot of people are going to be upgrading to Ryzen 7000 series. Lots of new motherboards. So I think that's going to be good for everybody, whether you're on Intel, whether you're on AMD. Cheaper prices for DDR5 is always a good thing. So I'm excited for that. And I'll be excited to test DDR5 on AM5 systems with the new AMD Expo Tech, because I think that's going to be pretty cool there as well. Nelson, before we get into the next story, Nelson said, when the 40 series GPUs arrive, will we see a price drop? Yeah, I think the whole plan, I mean, you would think they would want to move most of the inventory out before they launch, right? That's what they're trying to do now. I think the price drops we saw last month, that's what they thought would move them, and it hasn't moved them yet. So they done another price drop, plus added a game bundle to it as well. So hopefully that, but again, I still don't think we've hit the bottom.
No, and I think, enough people still see the blood in the water, like they're gonna have to like bleed a little more in order to get rid of this old stock, so they're gonna have to keep dropping. So I think there's still people that are holding out on further price drops before they, make a purchase, which hey, all more power to them.
We haven't hit the bottom. I'm saying it. So
buy the dip.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so
yeah.
But yeah, we have stuff we talked about when the initial Ryzen 7000 series was announced. Right. No X3D parts. Ryan has a story about that.
Yeah, so according to a leak from Greymon55 via WCCF Tech, that we're expecting to see 3 7000 series X3D SKUs. So we would have a 7800 X3D, which would be the 8-core 16-thread part. Then we would have a 7700X, 7700X, and then a 7900. Oh my gosh. I'm having words issues now.
See,
Sorry.
I just
have the 7800 X3D, right, which is our 8-core 16-thread. Then we'd have a 7900 X3D, which would be the 12 and 24, and then a 7950 X3D 16 and 32 threads piece there. So I think this is probably what I would hold out on as well, right? I think we mentioned last week I was missing the just standard 7800X series processor, because that's kind of where I've been. I did the 1800X when it came out. I got the 3800X when it came out. I've just always been that, not the top of the line, not the bottom, just kind of right in the middle there. I do the same thing with GPUs, right? I'm usually that 70 series or 70 level part purchaser as well. So if I do go towards a 7000 series, it will most likely be the X3D version, just to also get some of those enhancements that come with those GPUs, because most of my use of my system is gaming, right? Like gaming and surfing. So if I want to have the best of both worlds, I'm just going to go with that part that's kind of designed for that workload.
And for those listening who are might not be familiar, the X3D parts, that's something that AMD introduced last generation Ryzen 5000 series. The X3D part had their 3D V cache, which basically made it the best gaming processor available. If you're not gaming, not necessarily worth it. Even if you're kind of doing 50-50 like gaming content, like it might not be worth it. But if you're strictly gaming, it is the processor to get. Last generation, they only announced one part, which was the 5800 X3D. So the big change, of course, would be 3 parts at, of course, different levels. And then obviously we had the announcement based on these rumors that, AMD will roll through holiday season. And then in January, CES 2023, they would announce these 3 parts, probably as a counter to whatever Intel does, because it's, AMD's top dog, and then Intel comes out that Intel's top dog, and then AMD, you know what I mean? It's back and forth.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see AMD will be like, this is the, as they said many times, the best gaming processor out there, or whatever. Yeah. So I'm all for it. I do like at different levels too, depending on what you're doing. It does make sense per se. As I talked about earlier in the podcast.
Well, I think it makes more sense than the GPUs, right? Yeah. Being those different part options there.
Yeah, for sure. We'll put you back up.
Hey, you kicked me off. Also, we have the first images of an Intel Z790 motherboard. We have an Asus ROG Maximus Z790 Extreme. which would kind of be their enthusiast flagship board. And we've got it's so. I'm still not used to these motherboards just being covered up, right? When I first got into building PCs and everything, you'd have all these large um, caps and just large components hanging off of the board, and a lot of that, we still have some here and there, but a lot of it is covered up now. But anyhow, pretty sweet design here. We've obviously got some 90-degree power connections, which I always appreciate. I think it just makes your build a little cleaner there. We have an LCD screen on this M.2 slot cover, which is pretty sweet.
It looks like it's colored. So the Z690 Extreme, the ROG Max, it was just a typical OLED. This one looks like it has color. It appears to be some type of color. Can't tell.
Yeah, I don't think we have another. This one image, but definitely looks like there's obviously some red and white or gray in there. So we can probably assume that presume that it's going to have some coloring in there. Large Asus ROG light here, and I can't tell if this is actually lit up or if it's just getting maybe a reflection, because
I'm not sure.
Light reflection here, but it's definitely going to be decked out, especially being the Maximus Extreme board from Intel. Let's see here. Yeah, we're also expecting that CPU, the 13900K, to go up to 200 watts stock at load and 250 watts with overclocking. So definitely going to have some extreme power conditioning solutions.
That's contrary to what people said, because a lot of people said, like, if you overclock it, it's going to go to like 400 watts. And the person who released this photo is a professional overclocker, and they've been testing it, and they're like, no, it goes to, like, at stock, it's going to go to 200, 250 with overclocking, which is good for, again, if you, you don't want to blow power supply. I mean, they're testing it with the 650 watt. So, and they're testing it with an air cooler too.
That helps with cooling. Yeah, exactly. With cooling as well. But yeah, they're saying they hit 6.5 gigahertz single core on a light load. Which is pretty sweet. It's exciting to see. I know you're a motherboard guy, so this one's
it's very much like sweet. I said. The picture is very much, or the design of this board is very much like the previous generation. Again, some changes that you could notice immediately was the color on that screen on the M.2,
right?
And then the bottom part of the board is designed slightly different, but you still get like all like the 90-degree angles, like Ryan said. That's very much the same. Can't see the other side of the board.
So we don't know what I/O looks like or anything like that. Yeah, you can probably guess, a 10 gig connection, 2.5, some wireless, bunch of USB, and
what's this is from what we know. This is the first picture ever posted of a Z790 board.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big motherboard guy, so I definitely like that. So,
and then we had Samsung unveiling their Odyssey OLED G8 gaming monitor.
Ooh, give me one.
I'll take two. So it looks like it's going to be a 34-inch form factor OLED panel with their quantum dot technology, 0.1 millisecond response time, and 175 hertz refresh rate. This is pretty sweet. Ultra slim, 3.9 millimeters at the thinnest part, metal frame. What more do you want, right? 3440 by 1400. So it's a 21:9 aspect ratio.
It's Samsung's first OLED too. First OLED gaming monitor.
What does the curve? Is it 1500 or it's 1800? Okay.
Yeah, 1800R. So not a massive curve. Yeah, right. Not like their G9, which is the 1000.
Yeah, super curve there.
I like this. I want an OLED so
bad. They make nice colors and nice beefy stand to hold that thing up. Some RGB lighting on the back, obviously. No, it's cool. I want to see this in person. I'm sure we'll see it at CES. Just seeing these things in person, it's one thing to see pictures, right, or video online, but when you see these things in person and realize the color depth you get especially from an OLED, and how dark the blacks are and how bright, just tiny little,
and how thin the display is.
That too, just everything about these is just awesome seeing it in person. So very, very cool.
Yeah, definitely a fan of this. Did they list I don't think they listed the price, did they?
No.
No, be available in Q4. Yeah.
And multiple connectivity options also. Some micro HDMI, DisplayPort, USB Type-C.
Yeah, I like it.
And 5-watt stereo speakers for crisp sound. However, I think the Katana V2 might sound a little better than this thing.
Yeah, you go right under the monitor there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, boy, I love this. Not USB Type-C is getting some more complicated with regards to naming with USB 4 2.0. I know you and I were talking about this earlier in the week. I think just the insanity of the USB naming schemes, and so now we are getting. Let's see here. Transfer speeds up to 80 gigabit per second. Okay, that's great, right? But once again, we're just getting another name, and let's see here. Yeah, so we're gonna have USB 4 and USB 4 version 2.0. So like you look at this naming scheme, and that's what I really want to focus on is just the naming scheme, not necessarily the specs on that, because I think it's just ridiculous how many names we have. And you and I were talking, and my point that I brought up with you was, I feel like we could have just had USB 2.0, USB 3, and moved to USB 4. But for USB 3 alone, right, in the current naming standards, we have 3, 3.1, 3.2, 3.2 Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 1 by 2, and Gen 2 by 2. It's insane, and I feel like folks don't even get moved to one standard, or products come out so that they could take advantage of, oh, hey, guess what? I've got a motherboard now that supports USB 3.2 Gen 2, but now I've got this flash drive that supports Gen 2 by 2, but I can't take full advantage of it, right? We don't even get a chance to utilize these specs before another one comes out. Is there really that much push and need for this constant evolution? I think most people could have been all right with just USB 3.
Yeah, and I definitely get that. I think that makes sense, and I think again simplifying things helps the consumer a lot. But with tech obviously evolving, and we get new speeds and things like
advancing,
that.
Obviously,
every generation they've changed the way they do the naming. Like you had USB 1, then you had USB 1.1, then you had USB 2.0, okay, then you had USB 3.0, okay, but then you go to USB 3.2 Gen 1, then you go to Gen 2. So then when you get to USB 4, okay, we'll get USB 4 Gen 2. No, it's called USB 4 version 2. And again, I really like what they were doing with like USB up until USB 3. Like if there's a new incremental update, call it USB 3.1, call it USB 3.2, because the 3.2 is different than 3.1 in some way, right? And then the Gen 1, the Gen 2, and again, you have USB 3.2 Gen 2.
5 versions of 3.2 right now.
But then you have USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2. It's again, for like a non-tech person, you'd be what is this?
Like, I don't know, give me the biggest.
It's so not consistent. That's the thing that pisses me off. It's so not consistent, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, again, the original USB naming was fine. Anytime, just like with software, there's like version 3.64, there's version 3.65, there's version 3.7. You know that's different from that version 3.64 is different from version 3.7 because of the naming. Like, that.
Right.
But to have, again, 5 versions for
3.2.
Yeah, 5 versions of USB 3.2, and they're not named differently per se. It's just so confusing. It makes no sense. Whoever came up with this is an idiot. I feel like these people, what's the name of this? The USB promoter group. They just sit around and get drunk, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll do it this way this time. It's so annoying.
When do you see this, guys?
Yeah, wait until they just what's going to piss the most people off, because I'm one of those people that's pissed off, and especially for me, because they'll change the naming down the line, and like I do a motherboard review, I'm like, oh yeah, there's 2 USB 3.0 ports, and then somebody's like, oh, they're USB 3.1. I was like, well, when I made the video, it was only called USB 3, right. 3. It's just like it makes no sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
all. Like, no sense. None of it makes sense. It's one of the things in tech that pisses me off.
And there's when you're supposed to be like a standards committee, and you can't even like.
Yeah, at least be consistent, right? Okay, so if you change things with USB 3.2, you went to the gens, right? Gen 1, Gen 2,
Sure.
Gen 1 times 2, Gen 2 by 2. Okay, so with USB 4, let's keep that same naming so people don't get confused again. But nope, you had
yeah. Why didn't we just go 3.0, 3.1, 3.2? How about 3.3 and 3.4, right?
Yeah.
Instead of 3.2 and then multiple versions of it behind it. It's ridiculous.
It's just
we may not even get a USB 5. It'll just 4 will continue forever with versions and gens.
Maybe they'll just do like Windows and just skip numbers.
Skip. Windows 10 is the last one you'll have. Here we are with Windows 11.
Yeah, or like there's no Windows not like it was like we went from Windows 7 to
7 to 8, 8.1.
Yeah,
we'll skip 9 and go to 10.
Yeah, there's a meme I think on Reddit that was like the people who came up with this naming, the people who came up with Windows naming, like sitting in a room together.
Probably.
Like, yeah, it's just oh man.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, very, very stupid. So, but yeah, guys, that is our news for the week. Sorry to get heated there at the end. That's the one thing, and that's like there's like a few things in tech that really piss me off, and that's one of them. And it's something really stupid to be mad about, but it just doesn't make sense. As a tech person, like as somebody who's technical, it should make sense in a certain way, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So on a lighter note, talking about USB stuff and storage, we have some cool stuff coming up next week. So I'll be taking a look at a Gen 4 NVMe SSD. It is the Silicon Power UD90. This is their Gen 4x4 drive. I'm actually going to throw it in a computer tomorrow and test it. So I will tell you guys all about this one. Speeds 4,800 megabytes a second read, 4,800 megabytes a second read, 4,200 megabytes a second write. So we should be decently fast. Excited to check that out. Also, I will be taking a look at a portable SSD, one of my favorite pieces of tech. This is a USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 drive.
Okay. All right.
This is the Lexar SL660 Blaze, 2,000 megabytes a second read, up to 1,900 megabytes a second write. Comes with this little.
Is that a little stand?
Yeah, it comes with a little stand that you can, but when you have it plugged in, and it has some RGB lighting around the like little thing right here. What? I don't know why they don't have larger photos of this thing. It's like you can't click on these, but in any case, it's a pretty cool little portable drive right there. So I'm excited to test that out. Really good quality too. I took it out of the box the other day. Very good quality on it too. So yeah, and it comes with a little stand. So we will have that for you next week as well. Before we get out of here, real quick in the chat, old man, you want to give us our gaming, our games that are free on the Epic Store? Because that's like a new thing we do now.
Yeah, I guess post.
Yeah. Also in the chat, Nelson said the people who are coming up with the USB naming, they're drinking, throwing darts at the wall to get a new name. Yeah, she's like, exactly. Let's just choose this one. Yeah. Or it's like people who are like trying to fix a problem and everybody disagrees, so they just come up with something completely different. I just think that's what it is. Old man says 100 days winemaking simulator.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Hey, there you go. Is free on Epic tomorrow, he said. We also, like I said, at the end of the show, we always talk about if we did anything tech related. Did you do anything?
I haven't done anything, but I'm gonna show you what I want to do. With all this free time I have, which doesn't exist, but I've been really into like AI art. AI generated art, and I showed you like Midjourney a while back. This other product, Stable Diffusion, is now available. It's open source, so you don't have to rely on a cloud server or being a member or having access to these custom render farms or anything like that. You can run this on your own GPU and system at home. Okay. And this is just an example of some of the art that's been created with Stable Diffusion, right? Like, you have Abraham Lincoln as a cowboy, and this to me looks like almost like Nicole Kidman, but not 100%. But it's a way of taking, giving AI prompts multiple ways to create art. And there's things like image to image, where you can take an old like Duke Nukem image and kind of render it in a more futuristic look and upscale things. So now this is available to run Stable Diffusion on a PC to generate AI images, right? So this is what I'd like to start working towards as a project to try out. But you've got to walk through quite a few steps to get up and running.
Working,
but yeah, How to Geek has a walkthrough here that looks like it's pretty comprehensive, right? As far as what it takes to do it. I'm super excited to try this out, though. Whenever I get some time, but like here's some examples of some of the art that they've created, right? Like you just give it these prompts and it does its thing and spits out the images. And then I was checking out like the subreddit for Stable Diffusion, like this image of Spock in a Mad magazine.
Some of these like AI generated art are like absolutely crazy.
Oh yeah,
and
like President Dora the Explorer. Like how funny is that?
Yeah,
it just throws these things together because it knows like the deal. But it's very cool. All sorts of cool landscapes and scenes and everything. So
very cool.
Definitely excited to hopefully check that out.
That's cool. So we play Apex.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody released like an actual aim trainer for Apex. I saw it on Twitter. I have the video here, which you guys won't be able to hear the audio. But it's like a legit aim trainer for Apex. It's on GitHub. You have to, it's not something like there's an exe and you just install it. Like you have to kind of install it yourself, but it's like a legit aim trainer. Of course, if you play any competitive games, like an aim trainer is, something if you were trying to get better to play, just to test your skills, and I think it helps you get better. There hasn't been like a legit one for Apex, and everybody in Apex Twitter was like, they were raving about this. They're like, it's the best aim trainer, like the actual, I think it's called, it's called Aim Trainer, and there's one called something else that are like standalone software that are like really bad. This is like built on.
I want this wingman that just keeps shooting.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
See those stats there, right? I wish Apex would give us some accuracy and stats.
Yeah, it has all the stats, and there's a bunch of different things you can do. And again, it's I think you download like an old Apex client to get it working. Or I forget how it works. But in any case, it's like, again, very, really, really, I mean, it's supposed to be really cool. So,
jeez.
Yeah, so to
who's
test
playing?
like, I don't know, somebody, but it's to make you better at the game. So I think it's really cool. And I wish that people, especially like on Twitter, were like, yeah, somebody had to make this themselves. Like we've been stuck on the same where you practice and Apex, whatever
shooting range.
Yeah, we've been stuck in the same shooting range since the beginning of the game. So something cool to check out. Also really quick, as far as like site related stuff, somebody commented on our last podcast video, that there were no we didn't timestamp it. So I timestamped that one. Going forward, we'll timestamp all the podcast videos on YouTube. So, you see something in the description, you're like, where is that? You don't have to click all the way through. So from here going forward, I will make sure that I timestamp all of our podcast videos. So if you're looking for something, you just want to hear us complain about USB naming, I'll just like this upcoming video, just be like, USB naming sucks. And that's like, you just be able to click on it and go right to it without having to kind of scroll through the video. It just makes it easier for you guys. So I'll make sure I go ahead and do that. But we are going to jump off here and of course play some Apex, which is going to be a lot of fun. Always a good time on Wednesday nights. So twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. Ryan will be getting that stream up, momentarily here. And is Shinny going to be playing with us?
Yeah, he's talking today about he's close to 1,000 kill. Well, he's like 970 something, I think, on Pathfinder. And he's like, I'm playing all Pathfinder tonight because I want to get that 1,000 kills. And I was like, you gonna get that many kills tonight? And he's like, "Hey, don't smash my dreams, man."
Hey, we'll have some. I'll play extra good tonight. So
All right, all
well,
right.
yeah, we'll have a lot of fun. So, so we'll be jumping over there, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. As always, guys, we appreciate everybody who came out, everybody in the live chat. We had Nelson in there. Of course, we had Old Man in there. Everybody else in the live chat, we definitely appreciate you. And of course, we appreciate everybody that listens later. We're on all of your favorite podcasting software apps where we're out there. Just search ThinkComputers, all one word, and we will see everybody next week.